Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. We are happy that you have chosen this YouTube channel, this Sabbath, this sanctuary and time. You chose to be here, and that we celebrate. We extend an especially warm welcome to our visitors and anyone who may be watching our service online for the first time. We now invite everyone to rise and greet each other. If you're joining us online, please say hi in the chat. Thank you. As you may know, your minister is out on maternity leave, and in her absence, we are graced with the presence of many lay and guest ministers on Sunday morning, preachers. We are finding this time to be fruitful, joyful, and meaningful as we together share in the work of building community and deepening our spiritual lives. Today, our service is being led by one of the Soul Matters small groups. Jackie Barrett, one of the group's co-facilitators, was prepared to deliver the morning's message. Sadly, she broke her fibula hiking the Grand Canyon from rim to rim. She got about a half mile into the canyon and rolled her ankle and broke her leg. Another group member, Tim Todd, has courageously stepped forward to bring the message today. He is a retired middle school principal and still teaches regularly during the the school year. So welcome, Tim. We look forward to what a teacher has to say about the month of June, the theme for the month of June, the path of delight. And now we have a few more announcements. Let's see. Ellie, donate the plate? Is Ellie? Oh, here comes Ellie. Okay. I should have named you right off.
Hi, my name's Ellie Agnew, and I'm a member of the youth group here at SMUUCh. Every other month, the youth select a recipient for our Donate the Plate offering. This month, the youth have selected Transformations KC. Transformations KC is a grassroots community organization formed by and for trans women of color and the vision to create safer, thriving communities for trans people. Transformations formed in 2016 after a wave of violence impacted their communities, specifically local Black and Latina trans women, as well as trans femmes of color, faced escalating violence, including several murders. Transformation seeks to address the complex web of intersectional systems of power and oppression facing trans women of color, including colorism, anti-Blackness, immigration status, sexism, and trans misogyny. They believe life begins the moment you decide to buy yourself. We believe their work is incredibly important. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Phil Hannon, and just wanted to give a quick update on where we are at with our stewardship campaign. We are not there yet. We announced last week that we had a $40,000 match from an unknown person. We have received additional pledges that would match about 30,000 of that, but we still have quite a ways to go, and we still have about 30% of our congregation that has not responded to the pledge drive. So we will be following up individually, but please get your pledges in as soon as you can if you have not done so far. Thank you.
Good morning. As bills in local governments across the nation and world set restrictions against gender-affirming care, putting the lives of so many trans people's lives in direct danger and instilling great fear amongst the LGBTQ community, we at SMUUCh celebrate trans and non-binary people and believe that dignifying medical care and community support are human rights. We look to the trans community as an example of what it means to live with integrity, and we send our love always. All right, and then now at this time, this is a whole church service, so I'm gonna need some children to be helpers for me today. So why don't you come forward? And you're gonna have a few jobs today, including leading a marching band. But before that, Kelly is going to teach us a new song, and raise your hand if you did not pick up a song sheet on your way in. All right. Look for those hands and give them a piece of paper. All right, thank you, helpers. You can go back to your seats once you grab a helper button. And now an announcement from Kelly, our music director.
Okay, friends, buckle up because this announcement is jam-packed with important information. First, I want to take a moment to let us give a big welcome to our extra special musical guests for this Pride service morning, Sass-a-Brass. Woo! Sass-a-Brass is Kansas City's only queer street parade brass band, and they bring the party with them. Their musical style is a mix of honk-style activist street band energy and the New Orleans Mardi Gras tradition. Their mission is to bring queer musical joy to the public and also provide a welcoming space where underrepresented groups experience a sense of belonging and sustained growth as musicians. If you don't have anything planned this afternoon, you can also catch them at the Stone Lion Puppet Theater Kids Puppet Parade at 18th and Vine at 2 p.m. today. They will also be in the KC Pride Parade next Saturday, June 10th, and you can catch them there as well. This morning, Sass-a-Brass is going to be leading a participatory song for the musical interlude, and you are invited to sing along to the well-known tune. For our friends who may be hearing sensitive, you are welcome to exit the sanctuary during this time if needed, and you can still participate in the Sager room, which is just outside in the hallway here, and the service will be streaming on the TVs in there. As you have already heard, we are choosing to celebrate this Pride Sunday with ice cream and cake after the service. After the benediction is given, Sass-a-Brass and our youth are going to be leading us in a parade. They will begin up front here, and they are going to collect us all as they circle the room toward the exit and ice cream. So please sing along, march along, and allow yourself to be immersed in celebration today.
It doesn't mean a thing if you don't have that swing. Well, I almost didn't have the swing. Come, let us worship. Please rise as you're willing and able to sing hymn number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. Shall we stand?
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
As Evans comes up to light our chalice, we are invite you to join us as we recite our covenants. Let us affirm that love is the channel of the church, question is in the church's value, and earnest is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek the knowledge and freedom, to serve as humanity's purpose, to end that all our souls are with the harmony with God. As we are committed with one another.
At this time, the children could come forward. Gather around. Hi, my name is Joyce. I want to read to you a book that I found at the library. It's about two men. Let me show you their pictures here. Here they are. This is the Dalai Lama. He lives in India. That's a long ways away. He's a spiritual leader of the Tibetan people, the Tibetan Buddhists, kind of like Reverend Rose is our spiritual leader here at this church. Only this man is very old, even older than I am. But he'll soon retire. He's still trying to help people all over the world to be happy and peaceful. This other man, this is Desmond Tutu. He lives in South Africa, which is also a long ways away. And he wanted the world to be happy. He died a few years ago, but before he died, he and the Dalai Lama wrote this book together about themselves. One of us grew up in a little house. One of us grew up in a big house. Our houses were on opposite sides of the world. Often we were sad and lonely. Both of us wished for a friend. Have you ever been sad and lonely and wished for a friend? I have. Not too long ago, before we moved here, I lived in another state, and I had a lot of really good friends there. And when I moved here, I wasn't sure I'd ever find good friends that would be like that. Can you think of a time when you felt sad and lonely and needed a friend? You want to tell me? You're thinking it though, aren't you? You remember those times. Okay, well, this is what the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu thought about in their book. Sometimes the other kids wouldn't play with us, didn't want to play. And sometimes the kids were all far away. See, here's the Dalai Lama up here, way far away, and couldn't play. But when we sat still and breathed a quiet, we noticed something beautiful. Now see, he's looking at a butterfly here. If you just focus on the things that is making you sad, then the sadness is all you see. But if you look around you, you will see the joy. That joy is everywhere. Joy is the warm, tingly feeling of the sun tickling your toes in the morning. See, the sun's coming through and there's these little toes. And it's the giggly, squiggly feeling when you're doing something silly. Me too. And it's the soft, snuggly feeling of being all wrapped cozy in bed at night. Even when you are caught in the rain and your joy is washed away, it's still at the bottom of the puddle. Have you ever been in a puddle? Yeah. Even if you slam the door and your joy can't get in, you just on the other side, there's a hug. And look, I think that must be his mom giving him a hug. And even if there is a loud noise in the night and your joy gets scared away, it comes streaming right back with the light of the silvery moon. Joy is the bubbly, bouncy feeling of finding a good friend. And once you let joy in, like magic, your heart always has room for more. Let's see if I can get organized here. What kinds of things bring you joy, like the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu thought of. Is that? Say. Creating, like with. In different aspects. Yeah. Can you think of anything else that gives you joy, gives you delight? Mm-hmm. Painting. Uh-huh.
Drawing.
What?
Drawing.
Drawing and painting and creating. Well, I thought of some things that give me joy, and I drew some pictures. Now, this is a picture of my family. Last year, a whole year ago, and my kids came and my grandkids came. Now, normally we don't get together, and I miss them, but what I remember gives me joy because I can remember that we all went down. They were here for quite a little over a week, and we went down to the Lake of the Ozarks, and this is what I drew to remember that time that I had with my kids and my grandkids. We played in the lake, we jumped, we had some floaties and some just fun playing in the water. And now this one, and John knows what this is all about. This is my dog, Mopsy. She really gives me joy, especially when she's happy, because when she's happy, she goes, and so I drew a picture of her. Every time I see her do that, I just have to laugh at her. And I like birds. I sit in my chair, can see out the door, and I have a big bird bath out there. And the birds come and drink, and I enjoy that. But sometimes this big old robin comes. You know what a robin is, a nice orange breast and all. And this robin jumps in the middle of that bird bath and just goes like this, and the water flies every which direction. It comes clear out on the deck, onto my chairs and everywhere. But it's the funniest thing because the wings just go every which way, and her body's just shaking all over. And it just makes me laugh and feel good inside. So now what I want is, what I'd like for you to do is to take some of these papers, some crayons. If you don't have some of them, you may already have some things to create with. And I'd like for you to draw 3 pictures like I did, not the same thing, but something that you know makes you happy, makes you smile, makes you feel joy inside. Things that you might remember that have happened. And draw these pictures, and maybe at the end of the service, you could give one of these pictures to somebody in the congregation, because I've found out that when I share my joy with somebody else, I think they feel happy too. And that makes me happy. So,
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. We are Sass-a-Brass. My name is Rosie, she, her. And we're gonna sing and play Down by the Riverside. It's a folk tune. It's a classic anti-war anthem. So please join us in singing.
Wanna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more, study war no more, study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more, study war no more. I'm gonna put on my starry crown down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna put on my starry crown down by the riverside, study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more, study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more, study war no more.
We come to this place to see and to be seen, to teach and to be taught, to hear and to be heard. Now, reach over and nudge the person sitting next to you. We're here together, gathered in peace and authenticity and intention.
We come to this place to share our joys and sorrows. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share, I now invite you to come forward and light a candle. You can share what's in your heart or on your mind in 1 or 2 sentences. You can share with a single word, or you can share in silence and simply light a candle.
My name is Jennifer Ashby, and I'm lighting a candle today for my grandson. It's his 20th birthday, and he is trans, and he has a lot of problems, not related necessarily to his trans condition. For his 20th birthday, he is in San Francisco, at a drug recovery center for the 3rd time, and it's very sad.
My name is Matthew, and a joy is I get to see my family that I haven't seen in a while, because we're going to a family reunion, so I get to meet new people in my family.
My name is Kira, and I'm lighting this candle for my husband who suffered a stroke. He is doing 1,000 times better, but is needing to learn how to walk and stand by himself.
Hi, I'm Diane Myers, and this is a candle of both joy and sorrow. Sorrow because my son and his family, I'm sad that they moved to Manila. They arrived this morning, Manila time, but it's a great joy for them to begin a new chapter of their life, and they're so much closer to my daughter-in-law's family now, so that's great. But in 4 years, they'll be back, I hope.
I have a joy and a sorrow. Around this time of year 2 years ago, we lost our very first bass drummer for our band, Azad, K.R. Azad, in an accident, and he was about my age. He was the first bass drummer to ever play with Sass-a-Brass when we started in 2018, and he saved us. And it was really sad to lose him. He was an incredible musician. And my joy continues with the band today.
My name is Kathy, and I also have joy and sorrow. My sorrow is I lost my mom in January, and the rest of my family decided I was no longer part of the family, so that's my sorrow. My joy is finding my family in my band and my community, because that's where the love is.
I'm Loy Gal. I'm here to light a candle support for my wife, Melissa, who is at home with enjoying the last bit of time with her beloved curmudgeon of a dog, Cashew, who is nearing the end of her life's journey. So candle support for Melissa. And I say her dog because dog was around a long time before I was. So I'm just a replacement.
I light these remaining candles for the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. Please speak these words with me. We hear your words. We witness your life in all its heaviness and brilliance, and we carry your joys and sorrows in a shared heart.
Let us take a moment to come fully into this place. Put your feet flat on the floor and take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable and relax into your chair. Allow your breathing to deepen. Wiggle your jaw. Melt. Notice an area that is tense or tight, and tighten it even more and count to 5, and then release it. Relax. It is okay to relax. Let the bustle of getting here melt away and come into this space of holiness.
For this first Sunday in June, we're going to learn the meditative hymn for this month, which is in this hymnal, if you have it, number 1059. And since we're learning this together today, we'll sing it 3 times through all together.
May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night.
morning. Today's reading comes from Kurt Vonnegut Jr. It's taken from his collection of essays, Palm Sunday. My uncle Alex, who is no longer with us, one of the things he found objectionable about human being was that they so rarely noticed it when times were sweet. We could be drinking lemonade in the shade of an apple tree in the summertime, and Uncle Alex would interrupt the conversation to say, "If this isn't nice, what is?" So I hope that you will do the same for the rest of your lives. When things are going sweetly and peacefully, please pause a moment and then say out loud, "If this isn't nice, what is?" Good morning. I'm Timothy Todd, in case we haven't met, and I've been asked to talk to you about delight. First, a bit of background. I've been an educator for many years, mostly at the middle level, but I've retired, but not completely. I was a school principal, and I enjoyed it because it allowed me to do things I felt were big and constructive. To accomplish this, efficiency was something I always worked for. I found myself at loose ends when I first retired because I was no longer being constructive. The tasks I had with home and family were important, but they weren't as big and constructive as my work as a principal had been. So I took a position as a paraprofessional in the DeSoto School District. I didn't necessarily want to continue to have all the responsibilities I had previously, but I wanted to be constructive with my time. I found that change to be so refreshing I consider myself semi-retired. And now that summer break is here, I'm back to being fully retired. A paraprofessional has no lessons to plan, no need to come up with ideas for room decorations next year, and best of all, no professional development. Until August, I'm free to do as I please. Part of the reason I haven't fully retired is I still enjoy the structure of a schedule of getting up and doing something constructive with my time. At the end of the day, working at a school, I usually feel like I've done something. During vacations and summer months, I oftentimes find myself sleeping in, fooling around on the internet, doing things that need to be done around the house. And on a really energetic day, I read a book and listen to music. I sometimes think deep thoughts about what I've read, but I don't write them down and I don't share them with anyone, so it doesn't really count for anything, it seems. I find at the end of these days I sometimes feel a bit guilty because I've just been fooling around and not doing anything constructive. Even when I do find the energy to do some chores, my daughter says I'm just puttering. I'm not building cabinets or refinishing furniture or building walls. I just putter. Puttering is rearranging the pantry or the junk drawer, or sorting through boxes in the closet I've forgotten what they store, putting them back after my memory's been refreshed. And I've been raised that puttering isn't considered constructive in the greater scheme of things. Even as I putter around, I wonder if there isn't a more efficient way of puttering. To avoid this guilt of not doing anything constructive or doing things inefficiently, I've decided to continue to go to school and work with kids. That's constructive. Efficiency is really no longer an issue, although I do sometimes have to remind myself to slow down. I have time to do the things I need to do. I enjoy my downtime during school vacations, but sometimes feel guilty that I'm not accomplishing big constructive things. And this guilt sometimes gets in the way of my daily affairs. As I read, I do sometimes run across things that challenge my perspective, and this delights me. And I'd like to share one of these passages. It's from an interview with the author and Unitarian Universalist, Kurt Vonnegut Jr. He said in an interview with Inc. magazine in 1996 the following: I work at home, and if I wanted to, I could have a computer right by my bed and I'd never have to leave it. But I use a typewriter, and afterwards I mark up the pages with a pencil. Then I call this woman named Carol out in Woodstock and say, "Are you still doing typing?" Sure she is, and her husband is trying to track bluebirds out back and not having much luck. And so we chit-chat back and forth, and I say, "Okay, I'll send you the pages." Then I'm going down the steps, and my wife calls up, "Where are you going?" I say, "Well, I am going to go buy an envelope." And she says, "You are not a poor man. Why don't you buy 1,000 envelopes? They'll deliver them, and you can put them in the closet." "Hush," I say. So I go down the steps here, and I go out to this newsstand across the street where they sell magazines and lottery tickets and stationery. I have to get in line because there are people buying candy and all that sort of thing, and I talk to them. The woman behind the counter has a jewel between her eyes, and when it's my turn, I ask her if there's been any big winners lately. I get my envelope and I seal it up, and I go to the Postal Convenience Center down to the block at the corner of 47th Street and 2nd Avenue, where I'm secretly in love with the woman behind the counter. I keep absolutely poker-faced. I never let her know how I feel about her. One time, I had my pocket picked in there, and I got to meet a cop and tell him all about it. Anyway, I addressed the envelope to Carol in Woodstock. I stamp the envelope and mail it in a mailbox in front of the post office, and I go home. And I've had a hell of a good time. And I tell you, we are here on earth to fool around, and don't let anybody tell you any different. Full disclosure, I've edited the quotation to remove a vulgarity. I encourage you to Google Kurt Vonnegut goes to the post office for the changed word. Now, this passage came to me as we started to discuss the term delight in our small group. Delight is a funny word. It suggests to me something more transient than happiness. I think you can be happy for longer periods of time than you can be delighted. I think delight is also different from joy. Joy to me is an overwhelming emotion, whereas delight is just a little jolt. In the material we use in Soul Matters, there are other quotations, and I think this one fits. Delight is like the butterflies flying around and landing on the thing that is joy. That's from Ross Gay. Happiness, to me, is visiting my daughter and her family who live in Portland. Joy is watching my grandchildren open their presents on Christmas morning. Delight is a surprise, like something my 4-year-old granddaughter says that is somehow deeply meaningful in a funny way and yet totally and surprisingly random. So I'm defining delight as something that can't be planned for. It just happens. But you have to put yourself in a position to find delights. I have to say that I don't always put myself in a place where I can be surprised by something delightful. When I read, I sometimes find a delightful passage in a book that is making me overall happy. When I listen to music, a certain chord or a sudden change in tempo could be delightful. But with both of these examples, I am engaged in activities that make me happy, so I sort of expect and hope to be delighted. The problem is I've been raised to think that these activities are not constructive. So even though I may feel delight in reading or listening to music, that little pang of guilt offsets it. In the search for something constructive, I sometimes miss the mundane. And that is what struck me about this passage from Mr. Vonnegut. Delight, perhaps, nestles down into the mundane, and it gets lost if you're not paying attention. What if we are put on this earth to fool around and not always be constructive? If I am doing something constructive, do I have to be efficient about it? Could I find more delights if I stopped worrying about being constructive and efficient? Could it be that I was placed on this earth to read books, listen to music, clean out drawers, and just fool around? Embedded in the Vonnegut passage is the idea that he has done something constructive. He's written more pages, but instead of being efficient when sending the pages to his typist, he takes the time to fool around. Could there be ways to be less efficient while being constructive and find more delight in my life? Do I always have to be doing something constructive? I have a goal in life to never physically enter a Target store again. I imagine most of us need certain supplies to be constructive in life, like envelopes. Target is where I get boring life supplies, but now I shop for it online. It's very efficient, and they even give me a discount. Then I drive to the Target, and a cheerful employee brings me what I brought to me. They're usually very pleasant, and there's a small delight. I've not left my car, though, and I've had no other contact with people other than those drivers around me, and sometimes those encounters are not delightful. This has given me pause to reconsider whether or not my search for efficient, constructive behavior is limiting my opportunities to be delighted. Maybe I should go into Target, where, like Mr. Vonnegut, I will stand in line with people. Maybe I'll talk to them if they look open to it. Maybe I'll just wander around and look at all the things that Target has to offer that I never see because I search for things specifically online. Doesn't mean I have to buy them. Maybe it could be something so absurd it's a delight to think about who would buy such a thing. I still get to talk to a Target employee, and I'm not sure I'll find a crush, as Mr. Vonnegut did, but sometimes it's fun to talk to high school kids who often work there and imagine how I would interact with them if I were still in high school, too. Drive-up service is certainly efficient. Delivery to my home would be even more efficient, to be sure. But like Mr. Vonnegut, perhaps I should sacrifice efficiency for the mundane and the possibility of discovering more delights in my life. Another insight, I don't think I'll just putter anymore. Instead, when doing mundane things around the house like cleaning out the junk drawer, I think I'll open myself to the possibility of delight. A forgotten tool, a souvenir trinket tossed into the drawer, because where else do they go? A McDonald's toy too precious to throw away for a brief moment in time. What a delight to bring that time back again. My reflection is that I have been continuing to look for the big constructive accomplishments to give meaning to my life, and yet that part of building constructive and efficient career has moved on. I know there are opportunities for me to still do big constructive things, yet this time, perhaps pause and take a different tack. If a delight is a surprise, then maybe they can be easily overlooked. Even when I am involved in a constructive process, perhaps I can let a little inefficiency slip in. An awareness that delight is possible at any time to me would be a different perspective. I'm thinking I might work to replace constructive with delight in my life. Not that I want to stop being constructive, just as my focus on being constructive, I still find delight. I still expect to find joy and happiness in my life, and I can work to make those things happen, perhaps by being less efficient in parts of my time still spent being constructive. A delight, though, can't always be planned. Might I consider looking for delight in a constructive way to spend a day? Then, when I'm reading or listening to music or even just puttering and find something delightful, I can consider the day well spent. I read some reactions to the Vonnegut passage online, and one profound statement was, not everyone can fool around all of the time, but all of us can fool around more of the time. So I invite you to join me in a new goal, to fool around more of the time, and be grateful for the new delights we find in fooling around. Because in the words of Kurt Vonnegut, we've been put on the face of this earth to fool around, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me any different.
I'm not sure where the script went now. The work of the church depends on us. We will now take this offering. Am I in the right place? As an expression of our commitment and our love of this church. As we extinguish the chalice, we read these words aloud together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Shall we join in our concluding hymn, closing hymn?
If you remember grabbing one of these, this is our closing hymn for today. It's a new hymn, so please stand with me in spirit or in body, and we will sing this together. I'm going to sing the first verse, and then we will sing all of the 3 verses together. That way you can learn it. The light comes as a rainbow, infusing us with colors, assuring us of welcome, a covenant of care. The rainbow fills horizons, surrounding us with beauty, reminding us to honor the love that's always there. Together. The light comes as a rainbow, infusing us with colors, assuring us of welcome, a covenant of care. The rainbow fills horizons, surrounding us with beauty, reminding us to honor the love that's always there. The light lives in our bodies, inspiring us to wonder, inviting us to passion, a covenant of joy. The rainbow is a present, a gift to all creation, a promise from the holy to bless and not destroy. The light grows in our healing, it draws us to each other, it helps us to imagine a covenant of peace. The rainbow is a model of difference in relation, apart and yet together, the colors never cease.
If this isn't nice, what is? I invite Jen to come up with some instructions for our parade.
All right, you can stay standing. Oh, well. All right, we're good. All right, first I need Abel and Evan to come forward. All right, Evan and Abel are going to lead the marching band. Now we need all those children back up here, and Kelly's going to give you an instrument, and you can walk behind Abel and Evan, who are going to lead us out to the front lawn.
Adults can also have.
All right, we got a few more children coming up.
We're all children, right?
All right, did everyone get an instrument? Who wants one? All right, Sass-a-Brass, help lead us out.